Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the release of Ghana's Consumer Price Index and inflation for November 2025. Let me start with the headline numbers because these are figures that shape how we all feel the impact of prices in our everyday lives. Year-on-year inflation for November 2025 stands at 6.3%. This simply means that, on average, the prices of goods and services today are 6.3% higher than they were in November last year. Month-on-month, inflation is 0.9%, which tells us how much prices changed between October and November this year. Here is an important point. The 6.3% rate marks our 11th straight month of decline, and it is the lowest we have recorded since CPI was rebased in 2021. Barely 1 year ago, in December 2024, inflation was 23.8%. Today, we are down by 17.5 percentage points. By any measure, that signals a major shift towards stability. Now let's break the numbers down so we can understand what is driving these changes. Food inflation dropped to 6.6% in November from 9.5% in October. Month to month, food prices rose by 1.1%. So while food prices are still increasing slightly, the pace of increase has slowed sharply compared to earlier months. Non-food inflation is now 6.1%, down from 6.9% in October. Non-food prices went up by 0.8% between October and November 2025. When we look at goods versus services, we see an encouraging trend. Inflation for goods slowed to 7.3% from 9.3% in October. Month to month, goods prices rose by 1.2%. Because goods make up almost 3/4 of the CPI basket, this slowdown is especially important for consumers. Services inflation fell to 3.8%, down from 4.6% in October. Month to month, services prices actually fell by 0.1%. Turning to locally produced versus imported items, locally produced inflation dropped from 8.0% in October to 6.8% in November. Inflation for imported items also fell from 7.8% to 5.0%. This means both domestic conditions and global price pressures are easing at the same time. But inflation is not the same across the country. Regional differences remain significant. Northeast recorded the highest year-on-year rate at 12.2%, down from 17.3% in October 2025. Prices in the region, however, fell by 1.5% between October and November 2025. On the other hand, the Savannah region recorded the lowest inflation rate at minus 0.02%, meaning that the region witnessed slight price reductions between November 2024 and November 2025. Similarly, prices fell by 0.5% between October 2025 and November 2025. These gaps often reflect local supply conditions, transport costs, and how easily markets are connected. Let's look at which items are contributing the most to inflation. The top 5 contributors are charcoal, contributing 9.2%, smoked herring, 7.6%, green plantain, 6.8%, cinema and cultural services, 5.7%, and ginger, 5.4%, all accounting for 34.7% to the overall November 2025 inflation. Looking at the items with the highest inflation, the top 5 include ginger, with inflation of 94%, charcoal, with inflation of 59.9%, green plantain, 58.8%, cinema and cultural services, 46.4%, and avocado pear, 43.5%, all accounting for 27.5% to the overall November 2025 inflation. These are products with strong seasonal patterns or supply challenges. The bottom 5 items, which recorded the lowest inflation, are garden eggs, whose prices reduced by 58.8% year-on-year, cocoyam leaves, kontomire or alefu, 57.0% price reduction, pawpaw, 51.6% price reduction, fresh tomatoes, 47.1% price reduction, and cabbage, 44.1% price reduction. So, what is really driving inflation at this stage? 3 things stand out: declining food inflation, easing cost pressures on imported goods, and a broad slowdown across both goods and services. Together, these are pushing inflation downward and helping stabilize prices across most households and businesses. Let me now offer a few practical steps for different groups. For government, maintain fiscal discipline, focus resources on keeping food prices stable, and work to reduce regional disparities by improving storage, irrigation, and transport systems. For businesses, take advantage of lower inflation to invest in efficiency, strengthen local supply chains, reduce waste, and pass cost savings to consumers where possible. For households, use this period of falling inflation to budget more intentionally, avoid unnecessary spending, and save where you can. As always, the Ghana Statistical Service remains committed to providing timely, accurate, relevant, and credible statistics that support evidence-based decisions for national development. Our goal is to ensure every policy maker, business leader, researcher, and citizen has the information needed to understand our economy and plan confidently. Thank you for your attention, and we encourage everyone to explore the full set of publications available on the website of the Ghana Statistical Service for deeper insights into the November 2025 inflation figures. Thank you.